There's a type of person who, when they hear the question, "Want to go out tonight?" they don't answer right away. They go silent. And in that silence, a mountain of energy is drained. Not because they hate you, not because they're antisocial, not because they're depressed. It's because just the thought of having to change clothes, walk out the door, make small talk, ask those questions that no one actually wants the answer to, already feels like climbing Mount Everest. Meanwhile, at home, in that chair they've sat in 100 times, wearing those old soft pajamas, watching a movie for the 3rd time, eating a meal they cooked themselves, that's not just being at home. That's paradise. They are the ones who turn down invitations without a second of regret, stay home on Saturday night and feel happier than going to a bar, and genuinely don't understand. Why do people have to go to a coffee shop that's noisy as a marketplace, filled with cigarette smoke, people pushing each other, just to talk? Psychology calls them home-centered orientation people.
Sounds fancy, but what it really means is home is number one. Going out is a sacrifice. And the first thing to make clear, this is not an illness. It's not agoraphobia. It's not depression keeping them inside. This is a conscious, clear-minded, self-respecting choice. They stay home because they want to, not because they're afraid of going out, but because being home is better than going out. Here's the interesting part. This preference isn't born naturally. It's nurtured from childhood. Imagine a child. Every day after school, they open the door and no one is there. Parents are at work. No organized activities. No one asks, "How was school today?" Just silence. And that child figures it out on their own. They find their own food, entertain themselves, do their homework alone, make their own decisions for the afternoon. That child learns lessons no school ever teaches. Lesson number 1, home is my territory, a place where I don't have to perform.
Don't have to meet anyone's expectations. Don't have to fake a smile. Lesson number 2, I can do everything myself. Cook, clean, entertain, create my own joy. I don't need anyone to bring me stimulation. Lesson number 3, the most important. Being alone doesn't mean being lonely. This is something many adults never learn. But that child, they absorb it at age 8 or 9. And when they grow up, those children aren't afraid of solitude. They embrace it like a friend. They need it like air. They protect it like their life depends on it. Next, the need for environmental control. People who love staying home have one thing in common. They can't stand unpredictability. When you go out, you lose control. You can't know who you'll run into, what problems will arise, how long things will take, whether you'll feel comfortable. But at home, you control everything. Temperature, you set it. Lighting, you adjust it. Noise, you choose music or silence. Who enters your space, you decide. What to eat, what to wear, what to do, who to talk to. It's all yours. And this need for control often comes from childhood wounds.
Children who grew up in unstable environments, divorcing parents, financial uncertainty, being bullied at school, no one reliable to trust. They learn a painful truth. The outside world is chaotic and untrustworthy. But their room, their home, when their parents aren't there, that they can control. And they do it obsessively, arranging things in a specific order, creating fixed routines, turning their home into a machine that runs perfectly according to their will. When they grow up, they don't drop that habit. They carry it into adult life. And they realize
Why leave this perfect machine to step into a chaotic, noisy, risky world? The choice is obvious. Now, let's talk about what homebodies rarely admit out loud. They don't have the energy for social performances. You know those performances. The smile when you run into a neighbor, the how are you, the asker doesn't want to hear, the answerer doesn't want to say, the fake enthusiasm when someone shares news you genuinely don't care about, the nodding, the the that's interesting in front of pointless stories.
All of that drains energy like crazy. And homebodies, they see through this from a very young age. They realize most social interactions out there are just scripted performances. No real connection, no real emotion, no real truth. Why participate in a play that everyone knows is fake? Homebodies usually have an extremely low tolerance for inauthenticity. They grew up in environments where they learned to trust actions, not words. They've watched adults laugh and chat happily in public, then come home with sour faces. They developed a radar for detecting falsehood that's razor sharp. And when they're forced to participate in those empty social rituals, they resist by simply not participating. Ask a homebody, why don't you go out and have some fun? They won't say it out loud, but in their head they're thinking, fun? What's fun about fake laughing? About asking what's new when no one actually tells anything? Example, how many times have you run into a friend, asked, how are you? And when you start to answer, they've already looked away. Or that classic line, hey man, I'm in a hurry, let me call you back. And the call never comes. Homebodies see all of that, and they decide not participating. At home, there's no performance. You can be yourself. Ugly, messy, grumpy, sad, happy, all of it is allowed. No one judges, no one expects anything, no one tells you to cheer up. That freedom from forced inauthenticity to a homebody is priceless. Next factor, the need for privacy. Homebodies have very hard boundaries around their personal lives. They don't post stories on social media every day. They don't need to document every moment to prove it happened. They don't need witnesses to their existence. Why? Because when you're that child coming home to an empty house, you have something rare. Absolute privacy. No one watches. No one scrutinizes. No one comments on your choices. No one asks, why did you do that? That privacy becomes sacred. It's your psychological foundation, your absolute safe zone. And when you grow up, you protect it like your life depends on it. Leaving home means giving up privacy. You're seen. You're available for interaction.
Your appearance, your behavior, the way you speak, all of it becomes subject to observation. For someone with high privacy needs, that feels like exposure, like standing naked in the middle of the street. But at home, they can lower every shield. No one watches, no one judges, no need to explain, no need to hide. Why voluntarily leave that paradise? Many people think staying home all the time is weak, is avoidance, is being unable to face society. The truth? Exactly the opposite. Most homebodies are extremely competent at managing external demands. They don't go out because they've optimized everything to the point where they don't need to. Look at their lives. Food, delivery. They know which app is cheapest, which shop is best, what time delivers fastest. Work, remote. They've set up a home office more efficient than any open space. Banking, online. No lines. Shopping, e-commerce, everything cheaper, delivered to their door. Social connection, selective. They have 2-3 real friends, meet once a month, and those are quality meetings, not let's get coffee just to show our faces. Homebodies are good at systems, good at processes, good at optimization. When you grow up with limited resources, you learn to solve your own problems in the smartest way possible. And as an adult, you apply that same intelligence to design a life that isn't trapped by the things that drain you.
The outside world calls it avoidance. Homebodies call it efficiency. Why waste 2 hours going to a coffee shop, enduring noise, smoke, crowds, just to drink something that costs 5 times its actual value? When at home, you can make a better coffee, listen to your favorite music, sit in the chair you've adjusted to the perfect angle, and enjoy the silence. The choice is obvious. And this, perhaps, is the strongest psychological trait of homebodies. They don't need external validation. They don't post photos for likes. They don't go out to be told they have a beautiful life. They don't collect experiences to prove they're living a meaningful life. They don't need anyone to witness their existence. Their sense of worth is generated from within.
Where does this come from? From the fact that when you're that child raising yourself, there's no one there to validate you. No one praises you when you finish your homework. No one says good job when you cook dinner. No one pats your back when you get through a hard day. So you learn to praise yourself. You learn to create your own sense of accomplishment. You finish a task, you know you did well. That's enough. You cook a new dish, you feel happy. That's enough. You spend an afternoon reading. You don't need anyone to confirm that it was quality time. This internal validation system develops so strongly that external validation starts to feel hollow. What does a stranger's like on your photo mean? What does a friend saying, "Your life is so beautiful," actually change? What do 100 comments calling you so happy matter? When you're crying alone, homebodies see the shallowness in all of that.
And they choose not to chase it. They stay home, live their lives, and are self-sufficient in their own contentment. We live in a culture that constantly screams, go out, connect, experience things, prove you're living a life worth living. Social media is flooded with smiling photos, check-in stories, long captions about gratitude, happiness, and fulfillment. And behind those photos are hours of waiting for likes and comments, anxiety if the post doesn't get enough engagement, and an empty feeling when the phone turns off. Homebodies look at all of that, and they quietly ask the opposite questions. What if home is enough? What if quiet contentment is more valuable than curated experiences? What if solitude is a choice, not a problem to be solved? What if I don't need anyone to see me happy, and I'm still happy? They offer an alternative model of living. Prioritize your own energy over others' expectations. Create a life that truly fits your needs instead of performing someone else's idea of a good life. Be self-sufficient without needing constant external stimulation to feel alive. This isn't antisocial. This is selectively social. They don't hate people. They hate inauthenticity. They're not afraid of going out.
They just find home better. They're not lonely. They're happily alone. The psychology of people who never want to leave home, ultimately, is the psychology of safety. It's built on childhood experiences of solitude that taught them home is safe, home is controlled, home is authentic. External demands are draining. Being alone isn't just acceptable, it's desirable. They learn to meet their own needs, to generate their own contentment, to build a life that doesn't require constant external input to be complete. They're not broken. They're not out of place. They're not missing out. They're living their own lives, quietly, privately, and fully, in a way that the noisy outside world will never understand. In a world that constantly demands you be somewhere else, do something else, be someone else, they've mastered something rare. Perfect contentment, exactly where you are. Perhaps you're like that too? Don't want to go out, feel misunderstood, or you have a friend like that, and you used to think they were weird. If so, look at them with different eyes. Don't try to drag them out. Don't ask, why don't you ever go out? Instead, understand this. They are happy, just happy in a different way than you.
And if you are a homebody, be proud. You're not a freak. You're the bravest person in the room because you dare to live as your true self while the whole world is performing.